We're going to go over a few things that make arena football a fast-paced and exciting game. Let's start by talking about the arena you're playing in. The AFL field is 50 yards long and surrounded by dasher boards on all four sides. The dasher boards are considered inbounds. A ball carrier in contact with the boards is still considered in. There are 4 hash marks on the field. The ball will always be spotted on the closest hash mark to where the ball was considered down. If down in the center, the ball is spotted on the left or the right, depending upon the throwing arm of the quarterback. The end zones are backed by the tall gold-side rebound nets. A ball rebounding off the net from a kick or a pass is considered a live ball and open for reception by either team. The uprights in the AFL are narrow. A field goal can be kicked from any point on the field. There is no putting in the AFL. However, any kick that falls short of the uprights or the nets can be returned. Now let's talk about the players and the positions. An AFL team has 8 players on the field that play Iron Man style. They play both offense and defense. Strict substitution rules are also implemented in the spirit of Iron Man football. A specialist can only be substituted once per half, and two-way players can only be substituted once per quarter. Any player that has been substituted is considered dead and cannot come back to play until his time is up. You'll notice some movement when the ball is snapped. That's okay. In the AFL, one of the wide receivers may be in motion as long as he isn't offside. The linebackers' movements, on the other hand, are very limited. Their movement is restricted by containing them in the defensive box, an area on the field between the 2 outside linemen and 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. This emphasizes the passing side of the AFL, creating a faster, higher-scoring game. There are 2 linebackers in the AFL, the Jack and the Mac. They must line up on the right or the left based on the tight end in the offensive formation. Only the Mac linebacker can rush the quarterback on a blitzing play without first being released from the box. And he can only rush on either side of the center, never around the edge. Otherwise, a linebacker can only leave the box under certain circumstances. A run, or if the quarterback leaves the pocket. Also, a linebacker can leave the box if the tight end or the fullback goes into a passing route. The lineman also has some restrictions. Nose guard must line up helmet to helmet with the center and use man-to-man techniques. No stunting or twisting is allowed. There are a few other regulations that affect the game. The quick-paced game of the AFL has a 25-second clock and a game clock that never stops during play until the last minute when the final minute rules come into effect. An AFL game is designed to keep things moving forward, even during a kick return. If you fail to attempt a kick return, you will be penalized. One last thing, there are no ties in the Arena Football League. All games go to overtime where both teams get a chance at possession. If the game is tied in OT after both teams have had a possession, then the game goes to sudden death. Got all that? Good. Watch the tutorial again for a refresher if you need it. See ya on the field. Welcome to Offense 101. We're going to equip you with the basic tools you'll need to be successful as an offensive player. After getting into formation, snapping the ball is an easy 2-step process. Start the ball with the first press of the snap button. This will start the receiver in motion if it's part of the play. The second press of the snap button will actually snap the ball. All receivers will run their routes from where they are at the moment of the snap. So make sure you don't take the hike too soon. If you take too long, the center will snap the ball automatically before the motion receiver crosses the line of scrimmage. There are a couple of options if you choose to call an audible. Initiate the call with the audible button and pick from any of the preset plays. Or initiate the hot route function with the hot route call button. Here, designate the appropriate receiver with his icon and call his preset route with the route controls. As always, you can cancel with the audible cancel button here. If you want to see the formation revealing only the receiver's icons, use the Coach Cam button. To see the play as it's called, use the Coach Cam play button. The primary receiver's route will be displayed in orange, and the secondary receivers are yellow. Any motion that takes place in the pre-snap will be shown in blue. Your player is designated with the player icon beneath him. After the snap, use the controls to move your player around the field. As the QB, you need to know how to throw to your receivers. Use the control that matches the receiver's icon to throw to that chosen receiver. To fake punt, tap the fake punt button. To throw the ball away, use this button. And to scramble, press the QB scramble button here. If you want to control the intended receiver, press the switch player button here when the ball is in the air. To try for the reception, use the catch button here when the ball is in the air. While running, you can run faster by pressing the turbo button anytime. Hold the hurdle button down to hurdle over a player. Tap the same button to dive for extra yardage. Tap or hold the juke spin button and have your player attempt an evasive move like a juke or a spin. Press the stiff arm button here, and your rushing player will attempt a stiff arm on the closest defender to prevent a tackle. Sometimes you just have to bear down and cover the ball. This control will have you put both hands over the ball and protect from a fumble when things get hairy. Get right in the action of the quick-paced, fast, intensive game of arena football by being the receiver before the catch. Using the offensive switch player button here, cycle through the receivers and the QB, then snap the ball as you normally would. Now it's up to you in the field. Break from the playbook and just try to get open. When you're ready, have the quarterback throw to you. He'll lead you, so don't deviate if you're on the run. Or have him throw to another receiver if the coverage is all over you. The kicking controls are different, so listen up. When the arrow comes up, you can use the aiming controls to point the direction you'd like the ball to go. Accept the direction by hitting the accept button here. When the kick meter is displayed, move the controls back for power and quickly push them forward for accuracy. If you move the controls too far to the left or the right, you run the risk of flubbing your kick, so be careful. Here are a few tips to speed up your game and save some time. To have the team rush into a formation after a play, quickly press the hurry up button after the play is called. There's an easy way to call a timeout. During the gameplay, you don't have to go to the pause menus. You can call a timeout anytime by pressing the in-game timeout button. Now let's get out there and light up the scoreboard. It's time for Defense 101. When we're through, you'll have no problem making life difficult for the offense. Your player is designated by the player icon beneath him. Use the controls to move your player around the field. Your player will automatically strafe left or right, as well as backpedal with light pressure on the controls. Further pressure will have them run in that direction. To switch back and forth through the defenders, use the controls here. Before the ball is snapped, you can change the defensive play with an audible call from within the formation to one of 3 preset defensive plays. You can reset the type of coverage to bump and run or loose coverage, and canceling an audible is as easy as using the cancel button. 2 specific audible controls for the MAC linebacker exist: Blitz MAC linebacker and Spy MAC linebacker. If at any time you need to change the type of pressure on any specific receiver of your opponents, you can use the control buttons to bump and run or play off the receiver. To see the formation with only the receiver's icons, use the Coach Cam button. To see the play as it's called, use the Coach Cam play button. These are zone defenses, and when the defensive backs are playing man-to-man, it will look like this. To get into the action after the snap, hit the Switch Players button and become the closest defender to the ball. To avoid the block and get past your man when you're engaged, try the Rip, Swim, Spin control. Use the turbo button to run in a sprint at any time. To lay out a big hit, use the tackle button. Once you've hit this button, your player is committed to as big a tackle as he can muster. This makes for awesome crashes, and you're sure to hear pads pop. It is also nearly impossible to correct from the commitment, and you can end up with nothing but air. During the game, you may notice the quarterback is favoring a particular receiver. Use the coverage maneuvers controls to have your defensive backs converge on this guy and make it nearly impossible for him to complete the pass. To highlight the linebacker's restrictions, a box graphic will appear on the field. Remember, the linebackers in arena football are watched closely by the officials. During the play, only the MAC linebacker can leave the box, and only when rushing the quarterback. The MAC can blitz right or left of the center, but never outside. There's an easy way to call a timeout. During the gameplay, you don't have to go to the pause menus. You can call timeout by pressing the in-game timeout button. Now that you've learned the moves, get out there, lay some hits, and pull off some big stops already. Jeez. Okay, here's the thing. Arena football is intense, fast-paced, and hard-hitting. Before you run out there without your chin strap fastened, I'm going to show you how to use and understand all the information available to you through the telemetry systems. Let's start on the field. This is the telemetry icon. It gives you a clear indication of the player's fatigue levels through the ramping color scale. Red, of course, is very bad. Fatigue is a good way to measure how well a guy is going to do his job. An exhausted player will be noticeably worse than he would be otherwise, whether it's blocking, throwing, running, catching, or in coverage. So how do you use it? Well, you can use the controls for a view of your own team with a quick flick here, or both teams like this. Either way will allow you to see the telemetry for the remainder of the game. However, a meter will drain just a bit when you choose to view both teams. But don't worry too much, the same meter will recharge eventually. Don't want to give you everything. All right, now for the real beast. Play call telemetry. There are 3 categories of info you can get from the play call screen. Activate the telemetry feature like this, and you can cycle through the various screens. You can use this info to build your on-field strategies. First, we'll go over the detailed fatigue screen. During a game, certain activities will fatigue certain attributes. Running will fatigue a player's speed. Getting hit hard or sacked will rattle a player's awareness. Constantly breaking tackles will wear down a guy's ability to break tackles. You get the point. This is displayed in the telemetry by the player's thermal silhouettes. Each body part is representing an attribute or a combination of attributes depending upon their position. The hands on a quarterback will reflect his throwing accuracy, and the hands on a wide receiver will reflect his catching ability. Some things are the same. Legs on everyone is generally speed, and the head portion reflects awareness. I'm not going to go over all the details here. Most of it's common sense. The most important part here is that you can individually view each person on your team as well as their position in the current formation and their assignment in the current selected play. This is a good way to see where your line will likely break down and which receiver is your best bet for a completed pass. Next on our list is the passing tendencies diagram. From here you can see the precise locations of each pass thrown by the current offense, yours or your opponent's. Each dot represents a pass and its relative distance from the line of scrimmage wherever on the field that may be. Light blue is a completion. Yellow is an incomplete pass. Red, my favorite, is an interception. Finally, on to the successful score location. Displayed on the field representation is a line, marking each position where the line of scrimmage was when a score was made. Dark blue colored lines are passing touchdowns. Light blue colored lines are rushing touchdowns. Yellow colored lines are field goals. Okay, that's about it. Remember, information is knowledge, and knowledge is power. The more information you can get about you and your opponent, the more power you will have to move forward, make the right decisions, and get the W. Now go play some smart football!